My wife gave me chlamydia. I am livid. The only person I have had sex with within the past 5 years has been my wife. I thought I had a bladder infection or UTI, and scoffed when my doctor thought it was chlamydia. Well, here we are. I got the test results yesterday and I have chlamydia. Decided to start snooping, and it didn't take long to find the text messages between her and her boy toy. My guess is she doesn't even know she had it as well. She thinks I stayed up all night working, but little does she know I've already emailed her little lover boy's wife all the text messages. I warned the lover boy's wife that he's been sleeping with an infected woman and to get herself tested. I'm still deciding how to process this all, but wifey's going to wake up to my positive test results and the messages of her infidelity. The sun should be coming up in the next hour or two, and probably will be the end of this marriage. Update. I had gotten into contact with the coworker's wife, giving her evidence of what was going on and informing her that the two cheaters probably both had chlamydia. I did this because I suspected my wife was cheating with more than one person. In her texts, her lover boy had asked her if he was the only one she was screwing at the time, and she gave a non-answer. I know this dumb broad well enough that I knew she was screwing someone else as well. Luckily, the coworker's wife got back to me first thing in the morning to explain that she figured he was seeing someone else. The two of them were privately separated at the time, and their separation agreement stated they were not to see anyone else at the time. She had her own suspicions and thanked me for reaching out. We agreed that she would not confront her husband until I could cover my own ass legally in exchange for the evidence I had of their affair together. She also confirmed to me that her husband didn't have chlamydia, at least when they were still together. I decided to not confront my wife that morning. I pretended everything was fine and dandy while I looked for lawyers and dug deeper to figure out the mystery of the chlamydia caper. I installed a keylogger on my wife's personal PC and quickly got access to a secret email. Where guess what, my wife was talking with someone on a hookup website. The best part was that it solved the mystery, as the man informed her he tested positive for chlamydia and that she probably had it. Even better, these emails were from months before I was infected myself, meaning she knowingly infected me with chlamydia. Disappointed that it was not in fact the chlamydia fairy that caused all this, I have a lawyer. It's not looking well for my soon-to-be ex. The fact she knowingly infected me made my lawyer salivate, along with the mountain of proof of her infidelity. The house we live in is my parents', and we've kept our finances separate since the beginning. Her chances of getting much, if anything, out of me is pretty slim. I served her the divorce papers last month. I bought a security camera on Amazon when this all started, saying I was going to put it over our front door. I hid it in the living room the morning I decided to confront her. I decided to take one of the top comments from my first post on how to drop this on her. We were sitting and having breakfast when I said, "So, I'm curious, does coworker know you infected him with chlamydia as well?" The short of it was she cried, apologized, tried to claim it was a one-time thing. I brought up that this was her second affair, tried to claim she loved me, tried to blame me, screamed at me that I don't make her feel loved, yada yada, you get it. I served her the divorce papers and her eviction notice right after. I'm staying with my parents until she's out of the house in a few weeks just to be safe. I'm juggling if I want to try and press assault charges against her for knowingly infecting me with chlamydia, as my lawyer said it should be pretty easy to prove with the emails we have. Overall though, I just want her out of my life like the STD she is.
Press charges. She not only willingly infected you with chlamydia but another man as well. She will keep doing this. She is not to be trusted. Awful actions deserve consequences. Hug. You've done everything right and did an absolutely beautiful savage takedown of that woman. Happy you are supported by family and the other spouse victim.
Story 2. My girlfriend of 2 years cheated on me for someone she met for a few months. I had a girlfriend. Everything was going well up until she started going to college at university far from our city. Her first year of uni was fine. We had some small fights and we could fix that. But it all became a shitstorm when her coach in Frisbee, a fourth-year student, started to make moves on her. Being the logical boyfriend that I was, I told her to let him know his place and leave us happily be. But life doesn't offer such conveniences now, doesn't it? I later learned from our mutual friend that she would secretly go out with that dipshit of a coach. I was always late to the news because I was a city away and GF would only come home once a week, so I would only know little to no news about her and her whereabouts until she got home. One day, I was going home late from doing a thesis paper I'd been working on and decided to fetch my GF from the field. IT was around 6 p.m. and the field is already dark at this hour. As I entered the field, my headlights illuminated a scene I never wanted to see. I see her in the arms of her coach, passionately kissing each other. Seeing this thing firsthand was a shocker. I didn't react until they looked at my car and saw me inside. At that time, I seriously thought of running over both of them, but I wasn't the kind of guy to turn to violence. So I just disappeared from her life. I blocked her number, deleted every post that we were both in, basically vanished from her life. Some mutual friends still ask about what happened, but I would just laugh it off and change it to another subject. It's hard getting used to being alone again. I haven't slept for these past few days and didn't eat. I didn't even have the strength to get out of bed. Being the introverted guy I am, I didn't have anyone to talk to.
Friends. Why ever happened to? XGF? OP. Haha yes, what interesting weather we had. All jokes aside, sorry about what you've been going through. My marriage was ruined by my ex-husband's infidelity, so I can relate. I don't think people realize how much more it stings when it's betrayal and not just the end of a relationship. Best of luck to you.
That's basically how I changed the subject. I guess they're used to it since I'm someone who's socially awkward and can't get along with people that well. Story 3. My wife has been cheating on me for a year. I plan to divorce her as soon as our child is in childcare. My wife and I have been married for 5 years. Our child was born just over a year ago. I thought we were happy. But my wife became distant soon after. She stopped being interested in intimacy, stopped showing any affection towards me. She seemed to enjoy spending time with me less and less with each passing week and month. I have tried talking to her about it, but she has blocked any effort from me. I was unable to reach her. Then, about 3 months ago, I saw a notification on her phone. I was not snooping, I just wanted to pause the music she had playing. But there it was. Can't wait to see you tonight. I've been hard all day. It was a text from her male best friend. My heart skipped a few beats. I started to look through her phone and found loads of texts going back months. Nude pictures, dirty talk, everything. I wanted to throw up. Apparently they started getting closer a few weeks after the child was born and started sleeping together around 3 months after the birth. All those nights she went out with her girlfriends, she actually spent at his house. I wanted to confront her. To leave her and be done with her. But we have a child that needs us. I knew I couldn't take care of a child alone, at least not until he would go to kindergarten. And I knew she certainly could not take care of him alone. Besides, I couldn't ever stand being apart from my little boy. So I made a plan. I collected as much evidence as possible and kept my mouth shut. I stopped trying to get closer to her, keep my head down, and just take care of our child with all my heart. But the moment he is settled in at kindergarten, when he is 2 years old, I'll divorce my wife and try to get custody of my boy. And that is my situation. I've got to endure a bit more than a year of this broken marriage, pretend that I don't know what she is doing, and keep things civil. There is no one in my life I can talk to about this. I cry myself to sleep when she is out with the girls, knowing what she is actually doing. I got to stay strong for my boy. I love you, little one. Paternity test, I already did. He is my child. To clarify a few things. As I already said yesterday, I had a paternity test done to make sure the kid is mine. He is. But it would not have changed anything for me anyway, at least not how I feel about him. I am talking to an attorney. I have been working with them for a while, gathering evidence and building a case. I am prepared in case my wife decides to act before I plan to do. Thirdly, sole custody is not my goal nor my preference. Optimally, I will go for some form of custody agreement with me being the primary caregiver. I don't want to take his mom from my little boy. But I am prepared for the worst. Many of you disagree with my opinion to keep my wife's infidelity quiet. Let me clarify, in any legal proceedings, I will not hesitate to use what evidence I have gathered. But I will not go around advertising my wife's actions to our friends and family, or worse, to our boy. I will make damn sure his relationship with his mom stays as untainted as possible. I am aware that she might use some dirty tactics and may not be as respectful as I plan to be, which is why I am preparing for any eventuality with my lawyer. Sorry about the confusion regarding kindergarten, daycare and childcare. I have used those terms interchangeably. In my country, children can be externally cared for from as young as a few months old. But that is rare. Most commonly, children are put in external care at 2 to 5 years old, depending on the situation. In our case, childcare under the age of 2 is not available, and our financial situation is a bit more complicated than I care to elaborate. Suffice it to say, I have done my research and have determined that external childcare is not feasible or affordable until he is 2, and me staying home to care for him full-time is also not feasible. So to be sure I can take care of him all by myself, in case the separation goes less than smooth, I am waiting until he is regularly going to external childcare.
Right here. Waiting a year is too long. Kindergarten isn't the only childcare option out there for toddlers. I'm guessing your wife isn't just carrying on an affair, but making her own exit plan. As shitty as it sounds, like you were trying to win the divorce, you want to do everything you can to have a leg up in all court proceedings moving forward, and talking to an attorney immediately will best position you. If she initiates first, she could claim that the two of you had discussed ending the relationship already before she started seeing her friend. Would still qualify as adultery but put her in a much better light in court, especially if she can prove you were aware of the affair and didn't do anything.
Story 4. Fiancé having an affair with my BFF of over 2 decades. IF 23 just found out my fiancé M23 is cheating on me with my BFF F23 who I've known since we were in diapers. Today I left for a trip to attend a business meeting, and 2 hours later my sister sent me a video of my fiancé and my BFF making out outside Starbucks. I am absolutely heartbroken and I have no idea how to process this. We were together for 3 years and our wedding is in 2 months, and this girl has been by my side since birth. I don't have memories without her. I'm trying to explain the pain I feel right now, but I can't. How am I supposed to express this crap? I've gone over my relationship and my friendship a million times this past 3H, and I just can't understand. I also didn't get how you can backstab someone who is paying for your college, rent and car. Her parents couldn't afford it, so I've been financially supporting her for the last 3 years. And him, he lives in my apartment free of charge because I wanted him to save his paychecks so he can start his own business like he always wanted. I'm doing 90% of the chores because I wanted him to relax after work, and I'm 100% responsible for our 4 dogs. Plus I've been paying his mom's mortgage for a year. I am so stupid. How could I be so stupid? We never had any fights, and until now I was under the impression we were happy. I mean, he made me breakfast every morning and always made sure to tell me how happy and lucky he feels to have me in his life and how he can't imagine not being with me. This man has been sending me "I love you" texts every damn hour. I don't get how he can do this, and with my BFF out of all people. How can she do this? It's not like it's some random girl that didn't know he has a girlfriend, it's my BFF. She has been helping me plan the wedding all while having an affair with my future husband. I'm supposed to drive back home right now, but I'm sitting in my car at a gas station crying and asking myself WTF is going on. I'm physically in pain. I'm confused. I'm in shock. I'm writing this hoping it will help get it out so I can think about my next move and drive my ass home safely. I'm sorry if this is a mess, but I'm a mess right now. Edit to add that I'm doing a to-do list because thanks to you I've realized there's a lot to take care of. Also, I'm going to stay at a hotel until I'm calmed down so I can drive home. Little update, I've been talking to lawyers for hours and we're making sure my STBX does have a by right to my place because apparently he's lived with MS long enough to be able to file a claim. Also, I've canceled all payments that aren't for me. That was a bit tricky and took a long time, but it's done. I've moved all the money from our shared account into my personal account and the bank reassured me if any of them calls the bank can't give out any info because it's in my name. I did however took precautions and texted them that the bank called me and frozen the account by mistake so they know they can't use it. I've done so many things this morning that I can't even remember all. But I read the majority of your comments. BTW, thank you so much for all the support you guys showed me. I took the advice of all the people that commented and I've sorted out maybe 40 to 50% of this mess. I'm now at the point where I have to tell everyone, go home, confront the and kick them out of my life. I'm at my sister's RN typing this out. My sister and a couple of her friends went over and cleaned the apartment of everything that was his except for the things I got him and they're currently in trash bags outside. My sister's boyfriend's dad was nice enough to change the locks. I'm not going back there. I'm going to rent an apartment until this settles down and then I'm going to sell the apartment and buy a house because my dogs deserve a backyard. I also have security cameras so if he shows up or tries anything I'll know. Now, after I calmed down I decided I want to be petty so I'm going to report the car as stolen considering it's only in my name. I'm going to go over to his mom's and talk to her in person because she's honestly been nothing but great and I do feel about just ghosting her. So I'll go talk to her after I'm done updating you guys. I'm not planning on confronting any of them because I think that will only disturb me more. We have a group chat with everyone at the wedding and I'm planning on just sending the videos in the chat. My lawyer and I are also going over all my convos with them looking for any messages where they said they would pay me back for something, thanks to the person that suggested this in the comments, and I think you'll be very happy to know that I have proof of her saying she will pay me back for her college expenses. Yay! I think that's it for now, I'll be back later. I talked to his mom and she was shocked when I told her. She's told me she's going to cut him off and he can take his cheating us to his cheating dad. I don't know if she's actually going to cut him, but that's when she said. We cried together and she kept apologizing. I send the video in them making out in the wedding group chat and then I blocked their numbers. I have no desire to speak to them ever. I did report the car as stolen. She got arrested. I'm almost done with the wedding cancellation. I'm not getting too much back since the wedding was so close. I'm going to finally get some sleep now. Update, hi guys. After my last update I've decided since I'm not getting my money back on the venue I will keep the reservation and have party. Most of the guests took time off work and made arrangements to come for the wedding already so we will have a party. I'm going to take my sister and a couple of my friends on the honeymoon trip and make it a girls' vacation. Most of my ex's family and friends shunned him after seeing the video and they've reached out to apologize for what he's done. My ex-BFF's family is not speaking to her either. I've also found out today from my ex's cousin, who by the way knew about the affair, that my ex quit his job around the same time he moved and so unfortunately for him he doesn't have any savings. I don't know what he did in the time I thought he was working, but my guess is he was with his mistress. My ex showed up to my apartment but he left after my neighbor said she'll call the police. I don't know or care where he is. I blocked him after I sent the video. I'm going to move to a different city. I've been looking at houses and I think I found the perfect one. I need to make some arrangements to move from my office to working from home, but I'm actually excited. I've found a therapist in the city I want to move and I can't wait to have my first session. Last update. Hi guys. I'm doing very well. I love the new house and the situation finally settled. I did manage to get back quite a large portion of the money I've spent on these two disgusting people. Therapy has really helped me deal with everything. Except for the court, I haven't seen or spoken to any of them. Thank you and goodbye.
I am so proud of you. You handled all of this as well as you could have, and I am delighted to see that you're going to throw a big party and enjoy a girl's trip. Neither of those dirtbags deserve you, and I'm sorry you were taken advantage of by two of the people who should love you most.
Story 5. Cheated on my girlfriend. Told her to let go of the past. My girlfriend, 25F, and I, 27M, have been dating since college. 2 years ago I hooked up with another woman at a friend's party. I will fully admit that I was 100%, unequivocally in the wrong. There are no excuses to be made for cheating, and as soon as I had done the deed, I felt like scum that other pieces of scum would see as scum. Immediately the next day, I came clean to my girlfriend and she was understandably devastated. After almost a week of apologizing, crying and begging, we decided to continue dating. There were, however, some conditions to our continued relationship that I fully acquiesced to. I gave my girlfriend unbridled access to all of my electronics and social media. She had full permission to look through anything she wished at any time. I almost entirely cut off contact with my female friends with the exception that I'd be able to reach out for special occasions, happy birthday / congratulations on your engagement / etc., or for specific purposes, such as when I contacted a female friend who was working at a company that I was interested in lateraling to. While I didn't feel the need to elaborate to people who were just acquaintances, I did send texts to my closer female friends explaining the situation. They were mostly understanding not of my cheating, but of my distancing from them, and that was that. Our relationship took a while to heal, but it did eventually get better. The catch was that whenever we'd fight, my girlfriend would bring up my major, past transgression. If I ever got a text from a female friend, no matter how innocuous it'd be, my girlfriend's reaction would range from suspicious to full-blown stalker, detective mode. And honestly, for the longest time I was okay with this. I'd messed up in a major way, and if this is what it took to maintain our relationship, then so be it. I guess I'm only human, though, and it's slowly starting grating on my nerves. Since that party 2 years ago, I've never done anything remotely close to betraying my girlfriend again, but it would still be her trump card for our spats and justification for her continued suspicion. Everything blew up a couple days ago when it was my birthday. I had a low-key event with just my closest guy friends, their girlfriends, and my girlfriend. We all had great time, hung out until pretty late and went home. When I woke up, though, my girlfriend was pissed. Like, as pissed as I've seen her in a while. I asked her what was up and she threw my phone at me. There was a text from one of my former, close female friends that read, "Hey XXX, happy birthday. Hope you had a great one. Miss you heart." She was someone that I played a lot of League, a type of video game, with. The only other text between us was from 6 months ago when I sent her a happy birthday message. I really regret reacting the way I did in that moment, but I told my girlfriend that at some point she had to let go of the past. I was doing everything I could to rebuild trust in our relationship, and she couldn't keep instigating things over what was quite literally nothing. She didn't really respond and just packed some of her things and has been staying at her friend's house. It is what it is.
Dude, she'll never trust you the same. You showed her what you're capable of. You can't go back and erase that. I also think that it's a bit selfish of OP to continue to try and have his cake and eat it too, nuking the relationship, and then still begging for her to stay. Although it may have seemed like a good idea at the time, allowing her to cross those boundaries of always stalking everyone that messages you is a huge mistake on both your parts. Having boundaries is healthy, and continuing to do this just fuels her insecurities that you caused. The longer she stays in this relationship, the harder it'll be for her to move on and have any chance of a healthy relationship when you inevitably break up. I heard something from a few experienced therapists and podcasts regarding cheating. When you confess as a cheater, you're being selfish and trying to remove the guilt that you mentioned you couldn't even tolerate for a day. Instead, you pass that on to her in the form of a deep insecurity that is 100% because of you. You should have just ended the relationship and lived with that because it's not her guilt or pain to feel. It's yours. Not everyone agrees with that view, nor did I at first. But I think it's true. You've already cleansed yourself of holding on to that by outing yourself and doing whatever she asked, even though that's not sustainable for any healthy long-term relationship. She's still dealing with the fallout years later and has instead grown to become even more suspicious and less trusting of you.
Story 6. My husband asked me to leave while refusing to kick out our roommate who he cheated with. Okay, so it's as bad as it sounds. Obligatory, I'm on mobile. My husband and I have been together for about 8 years now. Most of our marriage was wonderful and I thought he was a great man. About a year and a half ago, my friend asked if she could stay with us because she had nowhere else. My husband at first was against this and I begged him until he agreed. She moved in and everything was fine until a week ago. My husband comes to me and says we have problems last week. He doesn't like the way I'm behaving towards him. The only thing he says is wrong is that I had a mental relapse and starting acting in a way he doesn't like. I tell him I will change. I tell him I'm just under a lot of stress because I work or go to school 7 days a week while he sits at home and no legal job. Now at this point I had a feeling in my gut that something was off. My roommate lets me borrow her phone and I find hurtful messages he sent her asking for goodnight kisses and calling her pet names like honey. My heart breaks and I confront him. He asks for a separation so he can think about if he still wants to be with me and asks me to move out at least for now. Even though this really hurts, I agree. The only thing I ask for in return is to make her leave too, since he clearly has a thing for her. He refuses. After we both talk to the roommate, she bursts into tears and goes to her room. My husband gets mad at me and asks me to leave because if I am there he will feel bad for going to comfort her. What about my comfort? I am his wife and have always been loyal to him. I am so hurt and shocked. I never thought he was this kind of person. He wants me to give him time to decide, which I would do if it wasn't for the roommate part. I know other people have gone through way worse than me right now, but it hurts so much inside. I just wish I could turn my feelings off. Why did he throw me away? I do not think a good man would do this to his wife. Make fun of me or laugh at me, I probably deserve it for what a fool I have been. How do I pick up these pieces and move on? I could wait for him if the roommate was gone, but it doesn't look like he will kick her out. There are a couple things I want to add and clarify. The house is in my FIL's name, he lives there too, and has dementia, so I cannot burden him with this. Plus it is a single wide trailer falling apart. Basically, my husband's gray area job is selling a pointy leaf plant in a legal state, but he doesn't report any income. My state is legal for recreational but not legal to sell. Also, I know for a fact my roommate is committing welfare fraud and disability fraud because she brags about it. I did tell his family what was going on because I know he wouldn't tell them the truth. They offered condolences. He texts me and asked me why I told them and now is claiming he never cheated on me, which hurts that he won't even take responsibility even when I screenshot the proof. I have reconnected with some family members he convinced me were no good to talk to, and they have been a huge support. I am also talking to a lawyer. I can't stay there now for my safety, felon in the house with weapons of a metal variety that also expel metal and in USA, and concern for my own mental health being in such a toxic environment. I am safe currently. The mental relapse he is referring to is because I was diagnosed with OCD and BPD. He knows this, and I spent years in therapy to manage my feelings and symptoms.
Honey, save your dignity. Don't give either of them the chance to hurt you more and keep mocking you in your face. Find a good divorce lawyer before you make any decision about moving out of your own house. And then let them have each other. You don't need such people in your life.
Story 7. We had a perfect life and my wife cheated. I married my best friend last year. We've been together for 8 years, and it's been the most amazing and fulfilling relationship I've ever had. We had the perfect life. We have the cutest little puppy, and she's the most loyal and loving little creature I've ever met. We've been saving for a house in our dream city, and we were just about ready to pull the trigger this year. We were planning to adopt afterwards. We finally paid off all our student loans. We have amazing friends and hobbies that we're both passionate about. We did everything together, dates multiple times a week, every weekend for sure, and usually a few during the week as well, road trips and vacations and events. We stayed up late every night cuddling and talking about our future together. We have a million little inside jokes, and we sent flirty texts to each other all day. We had an amazing sex life, every one of our fantasies, every day, often multiple times a day. We made it through graduate school and the pandemic and all sorts of other tumultuous life events together. I work from home, and I took care of all the house chores so she didn't have to. I took care of the dog, I did the training and the walking and the feeding so that she wouldn't have that extra stress. I make 4x her salary so that she can work her dream job, which doesn't, by itself, make enough to pay rent etc. since we're in NYC. I've never complained about any of this, and being able to do all these things for her always made me so proud and happy, so that she could fulfill her own professional dreams. And she still cheated on me. She cheated with a coworker she's only known for a few months, who is way younger than her, and who is her subordinate at work. I told her I would be willing to work through it in therapy together, that I could forgive her because our life was so amazing. And she told me she was so sorry and would do anything to make things right, that she had never meant to hurt me. But I found out last week that she is still cheating on me with him. And when I confronted her, she became unrecognizable. She was verbally abusive, and yelled at me, and told me that she had never loved me or our puppy. She told me that she had just been using me all along, and now that she'd found someone else, she didn't need me anymore, and that she didn't feel any remorse or guilt and had only pretended to apologize when she got caught the first time so that she could keep using me for money. I should be angry, but I just feel so sorry for her. I'm still going to have an amazing life. I took our dog, my dog now I guess, and moved out. I'm still going to be buying that house, alone now. All my friends also are friends, and even her friends have been so supportive. Even her family has been so supportive of me. She's losing a lot of friends. She's losing me, her best friend, at the very least. She might lose her job. She can't afford rent where she's living either way. She always liked expensive shows and clothes and hobbies and going out to eat, and now she can't have any of that. It just doesn't make any sense to me, but she doesn't return my calls anymore, so I guess this is it. I'll never understand what happened or why she gave up on our life together out of nowhere like this. Update. As many of you predicted, she tried to come back. Multiple times in fact. The last 2 months have been insane in a lot of ways for me. I encouraged her to see a therapist, and she was diagnosed with a personality disorder. She didn't tell me the specifics, but my own therapist suspects borderline personality disorder, for what it's worth. I still love and care about her so much that every time she called me sobbing telling me she hadn't meant it and would do anything to make things right again, I fell for it and told her I would help any way I could. In retrospect, it was so bizarre and entrancing, seeing these glimpses of the person I used to know, reaching back out to me in such obvious pain. And so every time she told me, stone-faced, a few days after apologizing, that she hadn't meant the apology and had only said it to manipulate me, and had faked the tears, it hurt so much more, having just seen these glimpses of the wonderful person I knew for 8 years. I got so lost in trying to help her during these isolated moments of normalcy that I lost track of how many times she abruptly switched her entire attitude towards me. It was only recently that I went back and counted. 15 times that she switched between telling me that she loves me and had learned from her mistake and couldn't wait to hold me again, and telling me that she had no regrets, had never loved me, and that she had only ever been manipulating me. At one point during one of her days of normalcy she told me that, when she thought back on how she had treated me, she felt like she had been kidnapped by aliens and replaced with a body double, like she had been watching an evil version of herself destroy my life while she watched helpless from space. And then when I called her a few days later and she started yelling at me for not being good enough and telling me that she was busy with her affair partner, who she had sworn she was done with just 2 days before, I reminded her of her alien story. She told me that she didn't remember telling me that she would never say something so dumb, but if she had, it would have only been to manipulate me. I've never been a victim of abuse before this, so it took me a lot longer than I'd like to admit to realize what she was doing to me. I always thought when I saw other people being treated so poorly, wow, I would never let that happen to me. But when I was actually in that situation, all I could think of was how I could help her. I always try to see the best in people, and as far as I know this is the first time someone who is close enough to me to know that has purposefully taken advantage of it to keep hurting me with no intention of stopping. It still feels so strange, like I hallucinated the last 8 years of my life. But I filed for divorce this week. I didn't respond to her last call. I know exactly how it would have gone, the apologies, swearing she would make things better, that she loves me so much. And then a few days later, the shouting and the abuse and telling me that I wasn't good enough for her and that she had never loved me. Also a quick update for all the kind people wondering how I'm doing personally. I've been having a blast going on adventures with my dog, my friends have all been taking turns reaching out every day, my family has been amazingly supportive. My manager told me to take a month off work to sort myself out, and it was super refreshing. Being back at work afterwards has been great. My coworkers have been hyping me up and checking in with me at lunch. I was able to get back to some old hobbies I'd dropped because of the pandemic, and made some new friends there. It's been good. I'm good.
Shit, that def sounds like BDP. My mom had it. Sounds so similar. Her personality changes on a dime. Tears to ice, back to tears in 5 seconds. 1000% loving and charming when she wanted to be, and suddenly listing every way you're at fault. Idolize then demonize. Nothing but manipulation. And affairs. GTFO dude, and don't believe a thing she says anymore. It's not even a lie with BPD people. It's just that you don't really exist as a real person to them. The personality changes to fulfill what they want in the moment.